friends, welcome back to my channel Bag Borrow Brew. I'm Arya Roy. I'm an assistant brand manager at L'Oreal India, and on this channel I share experience starting with my MBA to post MBA career and a lot of things that I like and love in between, ranging from travel to cold brew.
Hi everyone, this is a series called No One Size Fits All. And the first interviewee on this series is Prachi Sejpal. She is a very, very dear friend. She currently works as a relationship manager at HSBC Global Banking. Prior to that, she did her CA and BCom, and she was All India, I think ranked 16, if I'm not wrong. And she also pursued her MBA from NUS. So, Prachi, thank you so much for being here to share your career so far. I know you don't consider it enormous in terms of the timeline, but I do believe that people can, take away a lot from your experience and, of course, get inspired in terms of what they can do to be in the current role that you are. So, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Arya. It's a pleasure to be on your series, and I do really hope if I can find anything to share that's valuable for the audience.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of valuable insights that you're going to share in the next few minutes of us discussing. So let's get started and dive straight in. Prachi, the first question, of course, would be what role are you currently in? If you can explain that in detail so that they understand what exactly your profile entails.
Sure. Thanks, Arya. So currently, I am in the role of a relationship manager for large MNC corporate clients in the consumer brands and retail, logistics, and automotive sectors. So, going into further detail, it's basically a business development role, and it involves me working with these clients as their trusted banking partner and providing them with solutioning for a wide spectrum of financial services, including transaction banking, lending, capital markets and advisory, security services, and so on and so forth. So I hope this gives a little bit more insight.
Absolutely. And I think that's very interesting for anyone who's coming from a commerce CA background, looking to pursue an MBA, wants to continue working in banking. I think the profile sits very well for them to take away a lot of learnings from your profile. So I think the next question, of course, would be that did you know very early on, way back, as a young child or a teenager, that this is exactly what you wanted to do, that you wanted to do commerce, CA, and then finally an MBA and maybe work in banking? Were there any experiences during the formative years that actually shaped this decision of yours?
Yeah. So, if I have to be very honest, I had no clue what I was going to be during my early formative years. When I was in school, there was no set goal that, I want to be a banker or, I want to be a doctor or a musician. But what I would say is that the career path that I have taken, it's a result of the choices that I made based on the things that I really wanted to pursue, really liked doing out of the various things that I was exposed to. So I come from a family of businessmen, and my father was also a chartered accountant.
Okay.
So it was sort of a very natural interest that I developed early on. I took the commerce stream and I started pursuing CA. Now, when I went on to do that, I was exposed to different disciplines such as like accounting, taxation, corporate law, finance, and I found that I sort of developed an increased interest in the field of finance. And that's what really led me to decide that I really want to be into banking because it's a hardcore financial services stream, services industry. And therefore, one thing led to the other. I did my CA, then got into banking, and I then decided to pursue my MBA at some stage.
Fair enough. So I think two parts of the question that I would like to address from this, of course, is that why specifically relationship management within banking? Because I'm sure there would be other roles. And do you think that CA per se actually helped shape your functional skill sets or any such other skill sets for the current role that you are in? Would you advise everyone to take up CA and then do an MBA and then land as a relationship manager?
Sure. So I'll first take the second part of your question first, that whether you would advise others to, just follow the same path. Actually, no. My co-workers in banking, they come from very diverse streams. So you do not necessarily have to pursue a chartered accountancy course if you really want to get into banking. You can come from diverse streams and, pivot your career direction in that industry. What I would say, or what really gave me an edge over the others in this role or in this industry, is the fact that I also had exposure to other disciplines, as I mentioned earlier, like taxation, corporate law. It made it a lot easier to catch up on, the various aspects of the role that's involved in a banking sector. So I would say that it definitely helped me a lot. But I wouldn't say that getting a CA is a must to get into the banking, or the most straightforward way to get into that. Then going back to the first part of your question about why relationship management, actually that's quite interesting. And when I first started my career in banking, after completing my CA, I got into credit risk analysis rather than in relationship. So credit risk analysis or credit risk approvals is more of a support function, not the client facing function. We are rather involved into, crunching the numbers and figuring out whether a particular exposure is worth taking on in the interest of the bank. So from there onto a relationship manager role, which is a very business development client facing sort of a role, I decided to pursue this or make the transition from there from credit to business development, because the fact that I felt that this is something which excites me due to the reason that every single day is a new day and there's a learning experience. You are exposed to so many different personalities, and your sole job is to make sure that you bring together all the strengths of the organization in delivering a solution to your customer, and fulfill their needs. And that's something which through which I derive a lot of satisfaction. So I think because I got that, so I moved from one role to the other, and I got this feeling there that this is something which gives me a sense of purpose in my professional life. I can relate to this role a lot more, and therefore I am here, in this role. So I think that's a long answer to.
You wanted this long answer. I think it brings in more clarity for anyone who is looking at your profile and thinking, oh, is this something that I want to do finally? I think the why is extremely important in terms of what motivated you finally into this role. So thank you for that. I think the next question for you would be then why MBA? What made you think, because you previously also worked at HSBC after your CA, right, in India for a while before you took up the MBA. So what motivated you, or what made you think that you now need an MBA degree to take your career forward?
Yeah. So after spending a few years in banking, what I really started realizing is that, yes, I have a very good stronghold on functional skills and subject matter expertise, but I felt I could do more in terms of honing my management skills, leadership skills. That was one part of the thing which I always felt that, I need more knowledge or more practical experience in dealing with certain situations when it comes to managing people, working with people, and leadership skills for my growth. Secondly, I was curious that, okay, fine, things are going really well in banking, but is there anything else out there which I'm missing out on? And this might, as funny as it might seem, it was this curiosity that I really wanted an exposure to other fields, want to know about what's out there aside from my own industry and sector. So that's where I felt that an MBA would come handy, because in MBA you don't really drill down into functional or nitty gritties of the skill sets or functional knowledge of a particular discipline, but it's more of a broader level overview. But the key focus is on management and leadership skills, developing those. And secondly, you are put in the midst of a cohort wherein people are coming from all different walks of life, different backgrounds, different industries, and culturally also from different countries. So it's sort of gonna give you a lot of that exposure if you go into a good MBA program. So that's why I decided that okay, it's time now for me to pursue this.
Okay, fair enough. I think that's a very valid reason for anyone who at any point in their career kind of feels like, what else is out there? I've kind of saturated my current role. I think I have learned enough. I'm contributing enough. But if I want to do more, what else is there? To kind of get experienced in terms of not actually getting into in-depth knowledge of that field, but to get a broad overview. MBA is a great platform to network and understand what else is there. And of course, at the same time, I think leadership skills and people management skills are something that you always are constantly bombarded in an MBA course. So I think that totally makes a lot of difference in terms of your learnings if you want to, grow at a faster pace or grow bigger within an organization, right? So I think very fair arguments on that. So now that takes me to the next question, which is why NUS? So what brought you to Singapore and what made you take up the NUS MBA program?
Sure. So when I decided to pursue my MBA, right, what I was really looking into an MBA program was first and foremost the quality of the program. What really mattered to me is what's the ranking of the program, what's the profile of the class in terms of, say, for instance, the number of years of experience, and also what's the cultural diversity of the cohort. And so from all these aspects, NUS sort of checked the box. So quality was one part of it. Then another thing was the location. So coming from a finance background, I always thought that, okay, if not something else, then, at least I can try to get back to finance. And Singapore, it's the second largest financial hub in Asia. So the location advantage was there, and I thought that there would be a lot of opportunities in finance. And then I also know that it's also one of the major trading hubs. It is a tech hub. It has, it's been one of those countries which has been really focusing on developing its skill sets, its expertise in all the different fields that I spoke about. So location was definitely a great one when it comes to NUS. And then lastly, I have to be really honest here, but yes, ROI mattered to me a lot. And therefore, when I compared the fees that I had to pay for pursuing an MBA program in NUS versus some of the other similar ranked universities, this program ranked better in terms of the ROI. So quality, location, and return on investment were the three aspects why I chose NUS. And then you could also argue that why only, say, an overseas program. I think the reason, why choose NUS? Because it's an overseas versus comparing it with some of the Indian management programs. This is purely out of, this wish list that I had, that, okay, I want to experience what it is like to, go overseas and study in a different educational system. So that's the reason why I chose an international program. And within that, I chose NUS.
Okay, I think again, you are a very, very pragmatic person. So you always have like bang on clear points. I think the wish list, of course, is also a very valid point because it gives you a lot of exposure. And for somebody who is working for an MNC and, I think always had career aspirations of working with different cultures, it's important to get that cultural exposure as well. So I think getting an international MBA totally gets justified with that. Of course, within that wide different schools is always a call people take basis the different criterias that they have. So now that, of course, takes me to the next question, which is post your MBA, how did you land in the current job profile that you are in? What steps did you take up? If you can just take us through that.
The difficult question. Okay, let's do this. So, so as I mentioned earlier, right, there is one of the reasons why I wanted to pursue an MBA is this curiosity, what it is like. If not finance, then what would other options be like? So during my MBA, I got those opportunities. For instance, I interned in a Big Four firm in a very analytical number crunching role in valuation space. I also got an opportunity to work or intern in a tech startup, which was focused on AI technologies. I did a project for an IT services company, and then these were like different and diverse experiences from the role that I came from in banking. And after all of that, what my heart really told me, what I really love doing is banking. I really want to go back to banking. So when I finished my sort of course, and it was that period when I'm looking for my jobs, it got really tough, to be honest, because I was quite restricted that, oh no, I really want to go back to a relationship manager role in banking. And that's where the struggle started. There were a number of rounds of interviews for different roles. I was really not feeling that this is it for me. And then what really came to my rescue was the network that I had invested in within HSBC prior to pursuing my MBA. The way in which I really landed my current role was through a referral from a person with whom I had directly worked with while working in HSBC in India. So I would therefore want to highlight the importance of your network and investing in your professional relationships. Especially when you're thinking about taking this leap from coming out of your comfort zone, pursuing an MBA, and then thinking of where you really want to land after that. So that's how things worked out for me.
Thank you so much, Prachi, for that answer. I think how much ever you reiterate the need and the value of networking, it won't be sufficient because it is a very, very important skill set to have, and also to hone and develop through your MBA journey, because it actually takes you a long way in your career. And as cliched as it sounds, it is extremely valuable. And your example is the best to actually, to support it, that, this argument of that how network prior to your MBA is extremely crucial for your post-MBA career as well. So you finally realize through your MBA journey that relationship management is what you want to do. This is the function that actually, you derive immense pleasure out of in terms of working. So when you had to go back, I think having worked with someone and being able to actually establish your credibility in that industry with somebody in the same profile actually kind of helped you for a referral for your job. And I think that's extremely important for our viewers to understand that, your pre-MBA network, please try and focus on that. Please build it. Don't only think that you're going to come and network during your MBA. It's something that you have to keep as an ongoing process throughout your life. Once you start taking up your career more seriously, it is extremely, extremely important. And do invest in your network. I think not superficially, but do actually invest in it. You really have to feel for it to be able to leverage and make the most out of your network. So I think networking goes beyond to say that, it's extremely important. And that, of course, takes me to the next question, which is, I would like you to share, Prachi, two things with our viewers. One thing that you feel you did right and would like to continue, and the other one is what you would like to change. What do you think you might have not done so correctly and was an important learning for you to experience, so that you correct it going forward? And of course, that is a good insight or experience that the viewers can borrow from, and maybe they can do it correctly in the first go itself.
Sure. So, one thing, Arya, which I would never go back and change, or I would do it the same way every other time, it is actually to do and to pursue what you really love doing. I feel that when you love something, you will always find ways to make it work, even in the toughest of the times. Every problem that you will face, you will make sure you find a solution, a creative solution, and overcome it, and move on to the next level. And I think that's something, that aspect about you is going to become the differentiator between you and everyone around you, and will lead you to growth. So I think, I strongly believe that truly loving what you really do is very important for you to make that thing sustainable and to grow. Yeah. So that's one thing which I would never ever change, in terms of getting out of banking and then realizing, oh no, I really want to do this all over again. So, and just making sure that I do get into that, even post, my post MBA career. One thing which I feel that I would want to go back and do more of, which I feel I would not have done enough justice to, is to develop that skill set where you are able to deal with diverse personalities, people people having diverse personalities, and being able to make a winning conversation with them. I feel that this is a skill set which is very important, not just for your professional life, but also for your personal life. Being able to get along with different types of people, being able to, often it's very easy to walk away from people, develop that bias, and breaking relationships. It's very, very easy. But I feel that if you are able to tackle every diverse set of personality whom you meet, and walk away as a winner out of it, it's something which you will benefit throughout your life in every situation, every industry, every career, every situation, as I said. So that's something which I did not appreciate the importance of early on, in my career, or say, early on in life. And that's something which I really appreciate now. And I try to, bring that aspect in every single time when I'm interacting with anyone. So I hope that answers your question about two things.
Yeah, and I think you brought out a very significant point, which is people management and managing relationships. Of course, being a relationship manager, I think you can vouch for it, how important it is in your career, but also the fact that it is an important life skill. It goes beyond your career, and it can also go into your personal life, where you need to ensure that you are able to interact with different cultures, understand the nuances of different cultures, and be in harmony and sync with a lot of people. It's not an easy skill to have. It is something that you need to really be able to appreciate and then hone. And of course, it's always ongoing skill development. If you can never have enough of, if you want to truly be a global citizen in today's time and age, because I think a lot of us, we aspire to work across different geographies and different regions. So you can't know it all about all cultures and all kind of people. You'll always have something new to experience, and you have to be open. First of all, you have to be open to the idea of accepting different cultures and the nuances that come with it. And of course, you have to work your way around working with different kinds of people. And I think That's a very crucial point, and again, having reiterated that it's very significantly important in the current role that you are in, I'm imagining, because you are handling global banking, different MNCs which have been established in different countries, so you have to work with different kinds of people, and I'm sure their ways of working are very, very different. As much as we ourselves prior to our MBA, I think even I came with this misconception and bias that maybe the entire Asian community or Southeast Asians, they work probably similarly, and then you come to Singapore, you experience that, oh my god, there's so much of a difference between Thai to a Singaporean to even maybe an Indonesian, right? They operate so differently, and to be able to appreciate that, you really need to have that kind of exposure. But again, coming back to the point, irrespective of the exposure, if you're a closed person and you are not open to it, you'll never be able to take it on as a skill set to hone and make the most of your career and your personal life. So I think it's important. People management skills are extremely, extremely important. So I think this is a very important takeaway. I know it sounds very, MBA bookish, but
Superficial and all.
but when we experience it, you are truly able to appreciate it. So this is coming from someone, two people who are experienced. I would like to say that we have seen that up close. So till the time you don't experience, of course, you won't be able to truly appreciate it. But keep it in mind, be open to it, and of course, then you can make the most of your career. So that brings us to almost the end of the interview. I would really like to wrap up this whole thing with asking you, what's next for you, Prachi? What are you going to do next? And if you would like to share any other insights or points that you want to give away to the viewers.
Thanks. So, Arya, as of now, I still feel that I'm too early on in this role, which is called as relationship management. I'm in a fairly early stage, and I feel that there is a lot more to learn. And that will come only after spending some more time. So, whilst the profession is something that I would want to give more time now, I would like to continue doing the same profession for some more time. What I do crave for a little more is the experience to be able to work in more international markets in diverse geographies. So that is something which which I aspire for, and which I would hope to achieve in future years. So I think that's something which I would like to pursue ahead from here.
Okay, sounds very interesting.
And just one tip, which I missed out saying for the previous, the point that we discussed about dealing with diverse set of personalities. I just wanted to add that to some people, it really comes so naturally to them, this skill. Whereas, if you're not that person, then the good news is that you can definitely own that skill. You can consciously practice and improve on it. And there is a plethora of resources out there available. You can go into as much detail as you want to learn about it. But a very simple, light read, which I would like to recommend for anyone who's curious about finding this out, and I'm sure most of your viewers might have in fact already read this, is this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, it's a good book.
Amazing book. It's a very light one. Someone could literally laugh it off also. But if you really try and put even few things in practice about what the author talks, I feel it does help you immensely in the skill set of being able to deal with diverse set of personalities. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I think that's a very valuable tip. I think I myself actually read the book when I was doing sales for a brief period of time in L'Oreal, because in sales you have to interact with again diverse people, starting with somebody who is who doesn't even know how to speak in English to somebody who mid-level management knows English, knows the the end salesman, and then you also have to deal with the leadership. So sales actually requires you to kind of understand how to manage different kinds of people. And I found that book at that point very valuable. As you said, a lot of people might not understand until they really kind of put their mind to it and try and connect the dots in terms of their own life experiences to derive value out of each and every point that the author is putting out there. But it's a very valuable read, and I would also totally vouch for this book. I think for those of you might have heard it but might not have picked up and read it, please give it a read, because as Prachi said, it's a very light read. It's very easy breezy, so it's not too much of gyan. It is very plain simple words that you can relate to, and you can really derive immense value out of that book. So it's a great tip. Of course, coming back to what was next for you, you spoke about how you are going to continue perhaps as a relationship manager, which just goes to, I think, connect back everything that you've spoken about in today's conversation, which is if you truly love what you're doing, of course, at the same time, if you want to go out there and experience other things, or at least get to know what's there in the world, but then you are very clear that, oh, what I was doing, this is what I love and this is what I want to continue, it kind of just helps you go in a more focused way in that channel, right? So I think that's something I've always seen in you, that you're extremely focused in what you're doing, and you're extremely passionate also about what you're doing. And I can see that, the current role and your job, you derive again immense pleasure out of and satisfaction out of. And I think that is a very important tip to all the viewers, that find what you truly love, and once you do, you will excel. You really need to be able to nail it in terms of what brings you joy and satisfaction at the end of the day. And as Prachi, I think all of you will also reach greater heights if you're able to nail on that. And
Okay.
so she
Let's talk.
you don't get AIR 16th rank just like that. Brilliance is something which is out in her profile. And of course, you have to interact with her on a personal level to know that she is very pragmatic and very focused with her career. She weighs out each and every point when it comes to taking any decisions. So I think it's great to have you on this call, and as the first speaker on this series. Thank you so much, Prachi, for taking out time and doing this. I know you had to make a lot of effort in terms of managing your time. You could have easily relaxed.
No, not at all.
Thank you so much for being on this.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my absolute pleasure, Arya. Thanks for inviting me. And I hope the audience found the conversation useful, So thanks a lot for that opportunity.
Yeah, I too hope they find a lot of things useful, but I'm sure they would have found whatever you said useful for sure. So on that note, we're going to wrap up this conversation. Hope you guys enjoyed this interview video series, and stay tuned.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you found it to be informative. And of course, for all future updates about my channels and other videos that I post, please hit the subscribe button. And of course, up until the next video, please stay safe and stay happy.